So I was over at JP's house earlier and to do some stuff, and he says, "Hey, you know what we should do? You got to cast this 5-way S-glass and let's do a little experiment." So I said, "Cool." So what you're about to see is what we did at his house. And the premise of it is we used a 5-weight S-glass JP Ross rod and 5X tippet. You could do this with 6X, you could do this with 7X. I want to do this in a future video very soon with a 2-weight rod and 7X. And what the experiment does is it shows you how much these JP Ross S-glass blanks can bend and what they can really take. I would not feel as safe doing these tests with a graphite rod. And they would not have the same results with the tippet. If this was 5X tippet, I'm telling you, we could have done 6 or 7, and we're gonna do 7X with the 2-weight soon. But watch this couple of times, and then after, I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna explain why I think this is useful. Okay, check this out. Okay, yeah. 5X tippet. This is 5X tippet on the 8-foot 5-weight S-glass. Right here. Double surgeon's loop. Okay, it's attached to the Jeep. What do you want me to do? I'm gonna fight your Jeep.
You're gonna show how much pressure you can put on this.
Okay.
You can see I live in suburbia. Oh, it's a nice Camaro actually.
Okay.
So crimp it. You want me to keep this vertical?
Yeah.
No. You gotta get like down sideways.
Like this? You're talking.
Give a little more line. Give a little line, and
Okay.
put a good. Crimp, yeah, bend it. Like, be like, I don't think I should do that to this thing.
It's in the cork.
Yeah. Okay, you got constant pressure, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Okay, now strip it in,
Strip it in. Okay.
and now, no, give it a little bend,
Okay.
and whack it like you're trying to, you got a snag. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
It's physics.
Yep.
Cool, right?
That's really, really cool.
So, yeah, it's physics. Cheers. I'm not an engineer, but I play one on TV.
YouTube. Okay, so then it was not the knot that broke, right?
No, this is the loop,
There's the loop.
and this is the tippet coming off the loop.
It broke.
Can you see that piece?
Yep, it broke the tippet, not the
And-
knot.
Yeah, and this is the other.
Yep.
This is the other piece.
So it was not the knot that failed. It overpowered the
Actually,
tippet.
sorry, that's the tag. This is the tippet.
Yep.
Hang on. That was the piece.
There it is. Yeah.
So the rod protected the tippet,
Yep.
and then when you shocked it,
The tippet
you
broke.
actually got to the shock point of the tippet.
Yeah.
So we're gonna do it again,
Okay.
and you can do it. Let's see if it does it again, because once it could be lucky, right?
Okay. Cool. Okay. So we're attached again. So explain one more
coffee.
time. It's coffee. Yeah. Explain one more time what this test is proving.
Well, this is a surgeon's loop to a recovery hook on a Jeep.
And what's the tipper size?
This is 5X.
5X
This
on a
is-
5-weight
This
S-glass.
is on an 8-foot 5-weight S-glass, which Mark and I believe will be an ideal rod for bass, primarily for tippet protection. Not that you're going to fish with 5X, but the whole point of this is that we want a rod that is going to be enjoyable, like you can let the fish fight, because that's the point. Like if you hook the fish and you just like get them in 2 seconds, what's the point of that? You want to play the fish out. So the rod is going to protect the tippet. So now we're going to reef on this.
There's a lot of pressure on this. It's bending to the cork. Yeah, I really don't want to go any further. And the 5X is not breaking. Yeah, I feel like... No. Let me get my other hand here. Broke it. So the rod protected it. Let me see. It did not break the knot. It broke the tippet. So the rod... Oh yeah, I tried a couple of times. So the rod really protects the lighter tippet. Like if that was a big bass, or if that was a... I get to fish all this weekend when I was fishing for the bass at the lake. They all go straight for the weeds, and you gotta pull them out of the weeds if you're not fast enough.
You're consistently pulling. You're gonna get way more pressure and more power.
So you can go with lighter tippet if you want to, and the rod's gonna protect it. It's not like, oh crap, I only got 5X, or I don't know why I would have 6X, but I mean, you could do light and the rod's gonna protect it.
I think it's all about the experience.
Sure it is.
I mean, if you put 2X on, the experience of like just enjoying the bend.
Yeah.
Seriously, that's what matters.
That's what this S-Glass is all about. I just fished that old 7 weight and it's like fast and whoosh, gets it out there, and then this is like a walk in the park. Slow. You're just doing it to enjoy it.
Why land a fish in 30 seconds? That's not fun.
Yeah. Cool. All right, so there you go. JP Ross 5-weight S-Glass. That was the test. Call in sick, go fishing. Okay, so here's the deal. What that showed you was how much these S-Glass blanks can bend, how much torture you can put them through, and how, because they can bend and they're so soft, how they can keep bending and take the shock load away from the tippet. If you've got a good fish on for that weight rod that you're fishing, and lighter tippet, that bend of this S-Glass will take the shock load away from the tippet while you're fighting the fish. If you are keeping it constantly loaded with that fish on the line, it protects the tippet. But if you take the load off of it and you give it some quick jerks, you shock load the tippet will break at the point that it's supposed to. The rod will protect these tippets. So let me explain why I think this is cool. You got to understand, I'm a pretty avid, passionate fly fisherman, blah, 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 all that stuff. But I'm not a technical guy. So when JP designs these blanks, he's like, hey, come check this out. Let's cast it, go fish it, do this or that. What do you think about it? My response is kind of, I'm a simpleton. Yeah, I put a line on it, and I put this leader on it and I put a fly on it and I was able to cast it and I liked it. I don't get real technical with this stuff, and my whole thing with fly fishing is to keep it simple. It's just fishing. But then we do a test like this. We did it a couple hours ago at his yard, and I've had time to think about it. And JP is talking about, well, it's nice just to be able to play a fish and not have to worry about the rod, and do it with a light tippet. But I've been able to think about it for a little while, and here's where I think the benefit comes in with this S-Glass. Let's say you are going someplace. I'm going to use where we are here in the east, the Delaware River, as a good example. It's a very highly pressured river. These fish are wary. They are scared to touch anything because they have been hooked so many times. They have seen their buddies hooked so many times. It's hard to get them to take anything. They spot anything. They could spot a leader from a mile away. You're in a place like that where the fish are hard, extremely tough technical fishing, and you have to use super small leader, either A, because the fish are leader shy, or B, because you're fishing with flies that are so small that you can't get anything less than 6 or 7x tippet through the hook eye to tie the fly on. I think that could be a common scenario. You need to fish flies that are so small that you're going to end up with 6 or 7x at the end of your leader, between it and your fly. And that fly could end up in the mouth of a very big fish for that tippet size. Mosquitoes. Now you're purposely trying to catch these big fish on these tiny little dry flies and nymphs, mergers, whatever. So chances are these big fish you're gonna hook them, but good luck landing them. That's where this S-Glass comes in. You put the pressure on these fish, you put the bend in that rod, it protects the tippet. That 7X, you're probably not even going to get to the shock load of that 7X because the rod is absorbing all of that pressure during the fight. That bend is right down to the cork and through the cork, and that 6 or 7X tippet is not breaking because of it. That is where the benefit of that test and this S-Glass comes in my mind. And the other place it could come in, I am not a competition fly fisherman. I am not into going and catching big fish or nothing. Big fish or go home. And I'm not into records or anything. But I'm a little more than halfway through this book that you should look up. No, not mine. I didn't write it. It's called Lords of the Fly. And it's about those crazy guys, those crazy people down in the Florida Keys and Hermosa and all that in the 70s and 80s going for world record tarpon. And there are tippet classes. And you're talking about 200-pound fish on 12-pound test or 16-pound test. Those are huge rods. I don't know anything about that kind of fishing, but that S-Glass bending with that light tippet, I'm thinking about it and I'm like, if you're talking about going for records, tippet records, and fish records and tippet classes, S-Glass seems like it would be the way to go. Put the lightest tippet that you need for that record you're going after, and those S-Glass rods they're gonna help. They can't do anything but help. I think that's the benefit of the S-Glass. That's what I got out of that test after I had enough time to think about it. So go to jprossflyrods.com and check out the S-Glass series fly rods. You can buy the blanks or you can buy finished rods. I have a 4-weight and I've been fishing it for smallmouth bass in the creek behind my house for about a year now. And at first I just thought it was cool because it's glass and it's super smooth. It's way smoother than the E-glass, the old traditional glasses. S-Glass is the way to go. But after doing those tests, now I got all kinds of different ideas about, I'm gonna get a 5-weight soon. And yes, it would be excellent for bass, and that's probably what me personally I'm going to use it for. I just like the feel of glass. But man, I got to tell you, the more I think about it now, I feel like that 5-weight, even the 4-weight, would be the rod of choice for big trout and small flies that require small tippet. I don't know if you got any other ideas about the benefits of what that test showed you. Put them in the comments. Otherwise, go to jprossflyrods.com and check out the S-Glass. While you're there, buy one of my books. You need something to keep you motivated. You need something to read at work when you wish you were fishing. You need something to read while you're on the beach. I got you covered there. We're gonna do more of these tests because I think it's kind of cool. It's kind of fun, and I'm learning stuff as I'm doing them and thinking about them. I'm telling you, we're gonna do a 2-weight with 7X very soon. So subscribe to this channel because that stuff's coming. I'm gonna do a little more of everything. I'm gonna tell some more stories. We're gonna do some more of these tests, rod reviews. I go fishing with the kids. I'm gonna make some more videos so that maybe you'll get off your butt and take your kids fishing. All that stuff. Until then, you know how this works. Call in sick, go fishing.